Hey everyone, welcome back for another deep dive. Sometimes I just come across something that really makes me stop and think. And this time it's this excerpt from a Mary Oliver poem, The Gift. And I thought we could, dive into it a little bit together today and see what gems we find.
Yeah, I'm happy to dig in. The gift is such a powerful piece.
It really is. And it's so timely, too. I feel like we're all moving so fast these days. And this poem, it just has this way of bringing you back to the present moment.
Absolutely. Oliver was all about finding the extraordinary within the ordinary, and this poem really highlights that.
It does. So should we just jump right in?
Let's do it.
Okay, so the excerpt starts with this beautiful call to stillness. Be still, my soul, and steadfast. Just those few words, I don't know about you, but they just kind of stop me in my tracks.
Yeah, they have this grounding effect, don't they? And then she brings in this incredible imagery. Earth and heaven both are still watching, though time is draining from the clock.
It's like, whoa. Yeah, time might be passing, but some things remain constant.
Exactly. And I think that's a really comforting thought. It's like, even as things change around us, there's this sense of stability and permanence in the natural world.
Absolutely. And that leads right into the next line where she talks about how your walk that was confident and quick has become slow.
I love how she acknowledges that shift, that slowing down that happens as we get older. It's so relatable. But she doesn't frame it as a negative thing, right? It's just a part of life's journey.
Right. It's just an observation like, hey, this is where we are now. And then she goes on to say, so be slow if you must, but let the heart still play its true part.
And that's where things get really interesting for me. Because she doesn't just say, let the heart keep beating. She says, let it play its true part.
Yeah, there's a difference there.
Yeah.
So what do you think she means by that? Its true part.
Well, if we think about the heart as the seat of our emotions, our capacity to love, to connect, then maybe its true part is to keep loving, keep connecting, even as the world around us seems to slow down.
I like that. It's about not letting the slowing pace of life diminish our capacity for joy, for love, for all of those good things.
Right. And then she adds this phrase that I always find myself coming back to: love still as once you loved, deeply and without patience.
Okay, so that's where I get tripped up a little bit. Because, isn't patience like a key ingredient in love?
That's a good question. And on the surface, it does seem like a contradiction. But I wonder if she's pointing to a different kind of patience here. Not patience in the sense of waiting for something to happen or someone to change, but patience with the present moment, with things as they are.
Ah, okay, that makes sense. It's about accepting the now, even when it's messy or challenging.
Exactly. It's about being fully present in each moment and loving without reservation, without needing things to be different than they are.
Wow, that's really profound when you think about it. And I think it ties back to what we were saying earlier about finding the extraordinary within the ordinary. Because when we can approach each moment with that kind of love and acceptance, the mundane can become pretty magical.
Absolutely. And for our listener, this idea of loving deeply and without patience, it's something that's worth reflecting on. How would it look in your own life? What would it take to cultivate that kind of love?
Such a good question. And, speaking of things to reflect on, the poem goes on to say, let God and the world know you are grateful.
Yeah.
So it's not just about feeling gratitude internally, but also expressing it outwardly.
Right. And I love how she frames it as an active choice, a declaration. It's like she's saying, don't just feel grateful, let it be known.
Exactly. And I think there's something really powerful about that. Because when we express our gratitude, we're not just acknowledging the good in our lives. We're also putting that positive energy out into the world.
It's true. And even on a personal level, expressing gratitude can be so transformative. It can shift our perspective, help us focus on the positive, and increase our overall well-being.
It's like that old saying, gratitude turns what we have into enough.
I love that. And in the context of this poem, I think it's interesting to consider what Oliver means by the gift. Is it something tangible, or is it something more abstract?
That's a great question. What do you think?
Well, for me, I think the gift could be the opportunity to experience this very moment, to connect with you and with our listeners, to share these reflections on poetry and life. It's those everyday miracles,
Yeah.
the things we often take for granted until we stop and really pay attention.
I love that. And for our listener, the gift could be something completely different. Maybe it's a loving family, a fulfilling career, or even just the simple act of waking up healthy each morning.
Right. It's so personal. But the key, I think, is to take the time to notice and appreciate those gifts, no matter how big or small they may seem.
Beautifully said. So, as we wrap up our deep dive into this incredible poem, what would you say are the key takeaways for our listeners?
That's a good question. Well, I think Oliver is reminding us to slow down, to appreciate the present moment, and to embrace life's changes with grace and gratitude. She's also encouraging us to love deeply and without reservation, and to express our gratitude openly and freely.
So well said. And I would add to that, don't forget to notice the gifts in your own life. Take a moment today to appreciate the little things, the everyday miracles that make life so rich and beautiful. And until next time, keep diving deep.